Viola was very specific. Yeah, and that was one of the things that bothered me is that this is you right here, and it was cut off.
It's not or, sometimes we get called.
Oh, wow. I never thought of that.
It's O-B-R.
Right, not
Uh-huh.
ORB.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Here we
people
go.
get
It's,
dyslexic.
yes, and it's, my husband's saying it's
Things that
Oscar.
bothered me is it-
Mm-hmm.
Riddle is our last name.
Okay,
so that's
all
where
right.
that comes from. We're not live, are
We are. We are on.
And so now I've already mentioned it, so we don't have to talk about it again.
Okay. Okay, well, everything is set up. So, welcome back to another WCN Live here in the Wilson County News Break Room. My name is Kristen Weaver. I'm Director of Operations here. And today I have joining me, Sarah.
Sarah Gella from the Wilson County Historical Society.
Okay. And Justin.
Justin Trevino from Brady, Texas now.
Very good. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Really looking forward to our conversation. First, I want to thank our sponsor for WCN Live. We are sponsored by Professionals in Dentistry, the top-rated dentist in China Grove, San Antonio. Smile brighter at Professionals in Dentistry. You can reach out to them. They are tagged in the description of this video, as well as some of our other sources, the Opry and some other things today. So we do hope you check them out. And thank you for your sponsorship. All right, so the next thing we are going to do is I'm going to have Sarah draw me a winner. Every week when we are live, we ask you to post a comment, and you can ask a question, you can just say hi, but get your name in there because that puts your name into the next week's drawing. So this week we have drawn a winner, and her name is Faith Magnus. So Faith, congratulations. You are our WCN Live winner. I will be reaching out to you on Facebook Messenger, and you win a C Street gift shop gift bag. So we'll be reaching out to you soon.
Good.
Okay. All right then. Great. Good morning, Sherry. Thank you for joining us. Yes, we love the Floresville Opry and Floresville history. Yep. There's a lot of that. But today's conversation, we are going to have, you are in for a real treat. For those of you that are familiar with the Opry, as we're sitting here, you know these people. But we have a little surprise for you toward the end. So do stay tuned, share this video, and let's grab a bunch of people to watch live today. So, all right then. Introductions. So let's circle back to the both of you. Sarah, we'll start with you. Tell us a little about yourself, who you are, where you're from.
Okay, my name is Sarah Gella. I am from originally El Dorado, Arkansas, and came to Floresville when I retired from the military out of Randolph in 2002. So we've been living here since 2002, my husband and I.
Great, great. Well, it's been great having you in our area for all these years.
Thank you.
You've done a lot. So we'll learn more about that in just a moment. Justin, now you. Tell us a little about yourself, who you are, where you're from.
Well, so I was born in Brownsville, Texas, down in Cameron County. Grew up around Lockhart and San Marcos, and for the last 17 years my wife and I have lived in Brady, Texas.
Okay.
And we moved to Brady to open a recording studio, which we did.
Wow.
But I've played music professionally for the last 40 years. And first couple of years of that I played by myself. And then about the time I was about 14 years old, I put my first band together. And I've had a band for the last 38 years. So,
Nice.
So, I've made my living in the music business, whether it's
Right.
recording or performing or writing songs or being a sideman, playing, for other folks. I've just always made my living in music.
Interesting.
I wonder if
Very
any
good.
of those original band members are still with you.
Oh yeah, well, not still with me, but they're still around.
Okay.
The first band was a band called Sunset Country, and one of the main key players in that band was a guy named Ray Holland, who recently moved back to Texas. He had moved away to Florida, and recently moved back to Texas. I saw him this past September. I saw him for the first time in probably 30 years. Yeah.
Cool, cool. Well, your story is very interesting, and I want to learn more about that. Let's start with Sarah first, though. Let's kind of introduce things so we understand a little better about the organization behind this drive for, bringing classic country music to our area and just really celebrating that. Tell us what your connection is to the Wilson County Historical Society. What's your role and mission and what you'd like to share?
All right. The Wilson County Historical Society puts on the Opry. I am vice president, and so you know what a vice president does, anything the president tells the vice president to do. And the mission, I got the mission here, and it's to identify, preserve, protect, and promote the study of historical resources within Wilson County. And we achieve that purpose by working with the Wilson County Historical Commission. We work with other museums in Wilson County, the Sutherland Springs, Lavernia, Stockdale all have museums. We work with them. And of course we have the Jailhouse Museum here in Floresville. And just recently we were able to complete renovations of the Jailhouse Museum.
Yep.
And that in large part was due to the funds that were raised by the Floresville Opry, which Viola has produced for the past 14 years. And without that, we couldn't have done well. Without that, that's our main fundraising activity, and so Viola's done a really good job, wonderful job doing that. Yes.
And did you mention the DeWeese Rimshell House?
Okay, and so you had asked me to mention that, and I just forgot. There are other things that the Historical Society runs. The DeWeese Rimshell House, which is an event center and museum that is just outside of Poth. And we run that, and then of course the Jailhouse Museum here in town is open for tours, I think on the weekends or every other weekend, and that's very interesting. The people that are running the Jailhouse Museum are doing an amazing job. They have different different displays that they change out, so that when you go in there, it's not it's the same old thing. They have different things to promote the history of Wilson County.
Yeah, it's quite a force of activity and people who are part of the Historical Society, and as you can see, like many branches, that ways that the society works with preserving history. Some of it's through music, it's cultural, it's through museums, it's through and also physically, like these buildings and things. So it's really great. And you can learn so much by going to your website, wilsoncountyhistory.org. And all of that is really preserved on the website too. You can look them up and get involved too.
Yes, and ask any questions, and the questions will be responded to.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's really great. Thanks for joining us, Sylvia. Share the video. You're going to want to stay tuned to the end because we have a surprise for you guys. I don't know if you can guess what it is, but
Sarah's going to sing.
Right?
Yeah, yes, Sarah's going to
That's
sing,
right.
right? Yeah, that's
Look
a
at the
surprise,
dance.
all right. My brother would be shaking in his boots somewhere.
That's right. That's right. So, Justin, you kind of mentioned this earlier, but I'm going to ask it again anyway.
Sure.
But how long have you been a performer, and tell us how you got your start?
Yeah, so professionally about 40 years, and I guess I was about 5 years before that, trying to learn to. I was 7 years old when I got my first guitar.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
Started taking lessons and that kind of thing, and I was about 12 when I started performing professionally. So my dad was not a musician, but he was an avid record collector, and he was a big, big fan of hardcore country music, and he got me into it in a big way. And he had two passions, baseball and country music. And now he never told me this, and I never asked him, but I strongly suspect that it was maybe deliberate on his part that he fostered my love for music, because not being able to see, he knew obviously that playing baseball was not going to be an option.
Not going to work.
And so I think it might have been intentional on his part. I'm not sure, but he sure got me into it. And matter of fact, he named me after Justin Tubb, who was the firstborn son of Ernest Tubb, and Justin was my dad's favorite songwriter, and so that's where I got my name. Yeah. So that kind of got me into it anyhow.
Yep. So then, people from the area, I feel like they know your name if they're familiar with the Floresville Opry. You've been a performer there for I don't know how long.
Several times. I've lost count, but I'm always happy to come back.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So, and we know the Opry's been going on for 14 years.
Right.
So
Yep, the
somewhere
first
in that
Thursday
time.
of every month.
Every
the
month
first Thursday
in
of every
Floresville.
month at
That's
the Wilson County Expo Center.
Yeah. And you can find out there's the entertainers change out pretty, every month.
Every
and
month.
You can really count on that for being a family-friendly, fun environment to just enjoy that classic country music. And the people who attend, the Floresville Opry fans, they love to dance.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know all of this. This is, and you can go even if you're not like necessarily a dancer to just enjoy watching
Sure.
and enjoying the music, but watching the dancers on the floor.
That's right. It's like a community
It
that has
is.
formed there, and everybody knows each other, and they have a good time. And yeah, I don't dance, but
Right.
I watch them dance, and kind of.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
shuffle around, get out there sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and now,
Oh, I would
There's-
like to say that we
yes.
do have our house band, and they do a
right.
wonderful job with
Right.
They work with the entertainers that we have come in,
Exactly.
yes, but they do a wonderful
It's-
job
it's a good crew.
every month.
It
It's
is.
a very good crew, and I want to promote them also.
very
Yeah,
good.
most of them have worked for me at one time or another.
bet.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised.
Down through the years.
Yeah.
I bet. So, yeah, so we've got some, thank you, Sherry and Sylvia, for your comments. And yes, they love surprises. Just can't imagine what that surprise will be. Justin, tell us a little about, because your story, there's a story behind why you are the performer. This is all leading up to the
Yes.
fact that there's a big event this Saturday, and we need to make sure that people know and that they attend. Well, we know it's going to be well attended.
Yes.
It is the 90th birthday bash for Johnny Bush, a celebration gathering music. and Justin, you're on vocals. You're the lead
Yes,
performer.
Yes.
And there's a reason for that.
There is. So many of us in Texas that do traditional hardcore country. I mean, John had such a huge impact on this style of music that I am in no way the only person doing Johnny Bush music. Most of us do, and do a good bit of it. But
Okay.
but John and I were very close. When I was 7 years old, about the time I started learning to play guitar, I heard John on the radio the first time, and I asked my dad, I said, "Who is that?" So there was something about his voice and his singing that appealed to me. Dad said, "That's Johnny Bush." Well, I set out to learn everything I could about this man, never dreaming that I would get to know him.
Wow.
In 1989, I met him at one of his dances, but I didn't, and I was already playing and singing by that time, but I didn't let on. I just shook his hand and told him he sounded great, but what are you going to do? Oh, hey, I'm a singer too.
right.
That's right,
No, I ain't gonna do that,
Yeah.
So I didn't say anything, but I met him that day. A couple of years later, in 1991, we were officially introduced by a mutual friend of ours, Harry Weiss, who owned the Eisenhower Flea Market in San Antonio. And he had a venue in there called the Red Eye Saloon. And John and his band used to play the Red Eye every other week.
Okay.
And I went down there, my wife and I, well, she was my girlfriend at the time, she's now my wife. We went down there to see him one Sunday afternoon, and had a great time. It was wonderful. I got to say hi to him again. I went back 2 weeks later hoping to see him again, and he wasn't there. But they were having a jam session. And so I thought, well, I'm already here. I'll sign up for the jam and I'll get up and sing with the band. At that time, I wound up knowing all of those musicians, but that day I didn't know any of them.
Oh, wow.
I got up and sang, and I sang a couple of Johnny Bush songs. Well, Harry, the owner of the flea market, he came over to me, and the first thing he said, "Man, I owe you a big apology." I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Well, you guys probably can tell I can't control the movement of my eyes." And he said, "When I first looked at you on stage," he said, "I thought you were drunk." And I said, "Man, somebody get that drunk guy off there." And then he said, "But once I heard you singing, I realized that was not the case." I said, "Well, man, no, we all got a good laugh out of it." I said, "No offense taken,
Yeah.
He said, "Well, you sound like Johnny Bush." And I said, "Well, it's no mistake or no accident because John's my favorite singer. And I actually came here today thinking that he was going to be here." And he said, "Yeah," he said, "we've had to kind of scale back on those a little bit some of the other club owners around San Antonio were getting wind that John was working for Harry cheaper than he was working for some of them. And he said, Harry, I can't run that risk. You know? So, but he said, would you like to meet him? I said, man, I'd love to meet him. He said, well, I'm gonna talk to him next week. Or he said, I'm gonna talk to him this coming week. Can you come back next Sunday? I said, sure. Well, I'll be honest with y'all. I didn't expect anything. You know, people promise you stuff all the time.
Yes.
And you just think, yeah, whatever. So I'll be danged. About midway through the week, I get this phone call. Justin, this is Harry Weiss. Do you remember me? I said, yes, sir. He said, I've got John coming on Sunday. Can you come out? And I said, yes, I can. And so we went out there that next Sunday. Harry did not get to introduce Johnny Bush and I because we accidentally met in the men's room before Harry had his chance to introduce us. But,
So you can't get the credit.
but that day, and John used to like to go out there to that jam, and he would set up and play fiddle and lead guitar with the pickers. And he'd sing one or two, but he was kind of like, yeah, I'm Johnny Bush. I'm not here to put on a big show. I'm just here to be one of the guys, And so they got me up to sing while he was playing, and he sang Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, and he told the audience that he was kind of under the weather. And he said, ladies and gentlemen, he said, I've told you that I'm under the weather and I'm not in very good voice. And he said, now I've proved it to you by singing Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. He said, but this young man right next to me, they tell me that he knows all my songs. So I'm going to let him sing, and I'm going to play lead guitar and fiddle. And you guys you can look at me and listen to him. And I reeled off about 45 minutes. I was nervous.
Yeah.
Probably the only time in my life that I've ever really been nervous. I reeled off about 45 minutes of Johnny Bush songs, with him standing right beside me, playing fiddle and guitar.
Amazing.
That was the beginning of the friendship.
Yeah.
After that,
Awesome.
and I know I'm getting long-winded, but
yeah.
but I'm getting somewhere. After that, every time I would go to one of his dances, he would call me up on stage to sing a few with him. He and Daryl McCall had recorded an album together.
Okay.
And he asked me, he said, do you know mine and Daryl's duets? I said, yes, sir, I know every one of them. So we would do those.
Yeah.
And it wasn't too long after that if he needed a sub, either a front man or a bass player, he would call me and I would fill in for whoever was out. So then about 1998, as best I can recall, his bass player, who was going to be with me on Saturday night, the bass player before me was a guy named Dwayne Wavra, and he's from Columbus, Texas, and he's one of my favorite guys, one of my favorite bass players. Plays now for Rocky King. And Dwayne had gotten married, and he was trying to kind of get off the road and not be on the road as much anyway. His brother Donnie Wavra had a polka band, and he was also playing a bunch of dates with his brother. So John called me one morning. He said, "Hey," he said, Dwayne's trying to get off the road, and I just want to know, will you be my regular bass player? Well, I can't even tell you how thrilled I was. I said, absolutely. And I kept my own band through those years when I was John's bass player. I still had my own group, but I put his ahead of mine. I did all of his dates, and then if we had a night off or something, I could book a Justin Trevino band gig and go play it. But Johnny Bush became my first priority. I was in the band for about 11 years. Nice. And during that time, I also had started producing records, and I produced some of John's records. We also did an album together, and then when I left the band, I continued to produce some records. Now I must give credit. At the same time that I was producing records for Johnny Bush, there was also a gentleman here in San Antonio, Bill Green, who was producing Johnny Bush records at the same time. So all the stuff that John did for the last 20 years or so was either done by me or Bill. And you guys probably know Bill. He's been to the Opry also.
Okay.
But so John, as a matter of fact, the very last date that he played, I was with him and we sang together, never dreaming that it would be the last one.
Oh wow.
He was having some pulmonary issues, and he told me, he said, "Man, I don't know what the deal is." He said, "I'm having a hard time, getting my breath."
Oh boy.
And he called me that following week again to thank me for coming out and singing with him and all that. And he said, man, he said, I don't know what's happening. He said, I'm having to wear oxygen in the daytime. And he said, I've never had to do that. He said, I sleep with it, but I've never had to have it in the daytime. And as we were talking, he said, hang on, that's my pulmonologist. I got to let you go. And so I let him go. That was the last conversation I ever had with him. I heard a week or two after that he was in the hospital with pneumonia, and that's what he passed away from. Was
Yeah.
pneumonia. Yeah. So.
And
But his music,
Quite a story.
his music is. I've had a lot of heroes in this business, but John is by far my biggest influence, and it's the music that's nearest and dearest to my heart. When I sing in the shower, I sing Johnny Bush. You know what I mean?
that's precious.
So yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
what a story.
Yeah.
So, what is then? Why are we holding this event? Like we have the Opry's and now this special thing. What made that come together?
Well, I know she don't want to talk on the camera, but I think Becky could probably answer that. Maybe, you know, Becky and Viola are close.
Yeah, and she was the impetus for getting it started. Becky was.
And we were looking
Oh,
for a
nice.
place. We were looking for a place to do it.
Yeah.
And Viola was willing to take it on.
And what makes this special from the Opry is, well, you know, the special performers and all that, but it's happening on Saturday.
Right.
So it's this Saturday, February 15th. It's at the Floresville Event Center. So it's a
right.
different venue
It's a
than the
much bigger
Opry.
venue, so there'll be lots of room for everyone to come.
Right. And they can still get tickets.
They can still get tickets. There's going to be a dinner, grilled pork steak dinner for $12. You can have concessions will be available, beer, wine, coolers, and setups, but no coolers will be allowed into it. And we do need to mention our sponsors. Besides Becky and OBR, we have
Well, OBR is Metal Buildings and Components. That's OBR.
OBR
okay.
Metal Buildings and Components. Wilson County News is a sponsor, and HEB is a sponsor.
HB Floresville.
And so we
Great.
need to do that. And we're really looking forward to this. We have a couple of other fundraisers going on within the event itself. We have the arm stretch. We're selling desserts.
Y'all
on
always
the
make it
side.
fun and
Well,
fancy and a great night out.
And that's all due to Viola and her influence.
Good
It
job,
really is,
Viola.
yes.
Well, that's wonderful, and I'm so glad. Thank you all for your comments. Ruben Gonzalez, good morning to you. Candace Gonzalez says that is interesting. It sure is. Nanette, what a fabulous story. I agree. Sylvia Madero is watching. Gail Hodge, thank you all. Continue watching because we're about to give you a little surprise. Different than, I guess it's going to be, we get to get a taste of some of this music, don't we? Are you ready
Sure.
to give us a song?
Be happy to.
Awesome.
Got it. So this is a song that Johnny Bush wrote for his third wife. The marriage did not last, but the song did. And he sang this song at my wedding when my wife and I got married in 1992. But this was kind of his go-to song for weddings. And I think it's one of the prettiest wedding songs ever written. Not just because Johnny Bush wrote it, but it wouldn't matter whoever wrote it. It's just, I think it's a beautiful song. So let's try it here.
Okay.
Today is the first day of the rest of our life. So before we begin, let me say the feeling is stronger than just I love you can say, or my simple words can convey. Your beauty is more than my eyes can hold, so I'll take my whole life to see it all. In my sight, and I can no longer see, I'll have a million mental pictures to recall. With this ring I thee wed, after all the words are said, I won't love you anymore. than I do. For love can't be measured by the minutes of the clock or gold and diamonds that I give to you. Today is the first day of the rest of our life. So before we begin, just let me say, the feeling is stronger than just I love you can say, or my simple words can convey.
Wow, that is a beautiful song.
Very,
The thoughts
very
in it are
nice.
great. Yes.
I love that. I want
Yes.
to
It's called
those
Adriana's
words.
song.
Adriana, that was his
that was
wife's
her name, yeah.
her name. Yeah, that's great.
Oh, that was awesome.
I never knew her. Now when I worked for him, his wife is the woman that was with him for the rest of his life was Linda Bush, and Linda was one of my dearest friends, and hope she's doing all right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. I'm a little speechless, but yes, I agree. Sherry said that gave her the chills, and it was awesome.
I
Thank
know,
you.
it's
You
like-
know, if we got time, John recorded a gospel song.
I'd say so.
Okay.
We have time.
Okay, I'd like to do it.
Okay.
While he gets ready, can I just
Yes.
mention some other things for
Please,
the
please.
event? It is at the event center, as you said. There will be a silent auction. We will have the food. It benefits the Wilson County Historical Society. General admission is $20,
Okay.
and there's also you can buy a table for $100 for 8 and $125 for 10.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
And the details are in the description of this video. You can call Viola Hankey. I believe that is also included in the details of this video. And that number is 830-391-1062.
All right, thank you. Go ahead.
There you go.
Yeah. So this particular song, John learned it from Hank Lachlan. Way back when John was growing up, Hank Lachlan at the time, who was a very famous country singer, at that time he lived in Houston, and John grew up in Houston, and he learned this song when he was a kid, and he recorded it with Willie Nelson for the first time back in 1982.
Oh.
And then in the 2000s, he recorded it again, and Bill Green produced that second recording of it. And I've just always loved to sing it, and John used to really enjoy singing it as well. It's called Glory Train. There's a train that's bound for heaven, guided by the Master's hand, and it blows at every crossing as it soars across the land. The engine's made of silver, the rails are made of gold, the conductor is an angel chosen from the Master's fold. No, you cannot buy a ticket to ride on this glory train, 'cause you're fond and loving Savior paid your fare with blood and tears. The engine's made of silver, the rails are made of gold, the conductor is an angel chosen from the Master's fold, chosen from the Master's fold.
Yes.
Love
Beautiful.
that. Yes,
I
love
like
that.
that.
That's great.
Very nice. Wow.
Thank
I could
you,
listen to that. So, you want to hear more, you need to go Saturday
Come see
and
us.
come see them. Attend this event.
The
You
doors
know.
open at 5:30.
That's right.
Music
5:30.
starts at 7.
That's right.
Yeah, we're gonna have a big time, man. I've been so looking forward to this. You know, you enjoy. I always enjoy playing. You know, regular dances with my band, whatever it is, or being a guest on the Opry, whatever it is. But this is so special to me to get
Yeah.
to do this, and John would have turned 90 years old on February the 17th.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we got it
Yep.
as close to his birthday as we could.
Mhm.
Right.
It's awesome. It's an awesome story. It's going to be a great event. So
Yes.
very special, and really appreciate you doing this to bring
Oh,
this to.
Thank
to
you
us
all
here.
for letting me come and visit with you this morning.
Yes, absolutely. Well, with that, you look like you are going to play something else.
Oh, I can, but
I don't know what. It's up to you. Do we want one more song?
If you'll do it, yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
All right. I
Okay.
guess we should do just a little bit of the big one.
Okay.
I'm drowning in a whiskey river, bathing my memory and mind in the wetness of its soul, feeling the amber current flow her from my mind, and warm my empty heart she left so cold. Whiskey River, take my mind, don't let her memory torture me. Whiskey River, don't run dry, you're all I've got, take care of me.
Woo! Nice! Woo! Yes. Wow. Man, I like this conversation today. That just makes my day great.
Well, it's been fun for us.
Yes.
Sure has.
It sure has, yes.
Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence, your music, your story. We sure have enjoyed this. Sarah, any last words for?
No, just look
recap?
forward to having people come and,
Yeah.
and enjoy Justin and the music and also the event itself and the many things that the Historical Society has
Exactly.
planned.
Yeah.
And also, don't forget the Opry, first Thursday of every month. Viola Hinkey will get you in there.
That's right. Well, thank you all for joining us today. To recap this, go back and watch the whole thing, learn the story, learn Justin's story, learn a little bit more about Johnny Bush, too. What a treasure. It's been a delightful WCN Live today. I want to thank our sponsor of WCN Live, which is Professionals in Dentistry, the top-rated dentist in China Grove, San Antonio. Smile brighter at Professionals in Dentistry, and you can find them. They're tagged in the description of this video, as well as the Floresville Opry, the Historical Society, and anything else we can add. You can find all about this Saturday's event happening here in Floresville at the Event Center, celebrating the 90th birthday bash for Johnny Bush, and get to hear Justin Trevino in person. It will be a delight, so reach out for those tickets now. And that's it. Thanks for joining us.
Come on, y'all.
Y'all come on out. We'll see you next Wednesday when we're here
Is that
again
something else?
for another conversation at 10 a.m. Bye.
Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you. I'm going to turn this off. You can play if you want.
Yeah, we'll just all sit here and have a little private